Okay, so we're looking at a cassette roller shade bracket here. This particular application, we're looking at what an end mount bracket would look like. So typically it'll send you a piece of angle iron like this, and then normally you would have a bolt and a screw or a nut and bolt that would go through and attach these two pieces. We just use a self-tapping screw to attach it directly, but you can tell that's not the most aesthetically pleasing way. But this would solve a problem if you didn't have any. As you can see, this bracket normally gets drilled either back, this is the back of the bracket, or here's the top. So there is no way to end mount this bracket. So to get around that, what the manufacturer will send you is an angle iron like this, and you would attach it here, and once it's attached like that, you would be able to drill it into your woodwork on the sides. So problems with that being, as you can see from the top, not the most aesthetically pleasing. In fact, you can probably see it as you stand back from away from the window. You'll be able to see these two little splines on the top, or nuts if you actually have the right hardware. So not an attractive way to go. And then also, when you talk about the finished width of your product or good, because you have to have clearance for the bolts on the screws on the side to attach, the width that the overall width that it can be has to be narrower than you could for if you just ordered it standard and were able to mount it in a normal fashion. So you have a decreased fitment width, which makes it overall look less tailored. And then of course this right here, not the most attractive way to go. So reason being why the Palladian Shelf is a good solution to get around all that. Alright, so we're looking at an installation of a Palladian Shelf, and the way you're seeing it here is the way it comes shipped. So the first thing he's going to have to do is take out the installation bracket. There's a set screw that holds it into place into the shelf, which he removes first, and then he takes out the two screws that are installed into the shelf itself. And that's the way it comes for shipping. You'll use those screws to actually install it into the wall, which we'll show here a little bit later. But he's going to repeat that process for the other side. First thing he's going to do is take out that screw again and then loosen it up. And I think this one's a little tighter, so you might need to use a hammer or a pair of pliers. He's able to wiggle it out. And you're going to go to your desired height. You want to make sure you take into account the thickness of the shelf when you are going to install this. If you don't, you'll end up installing it too high or too low. There's a close-up of what the installation bracket looks like into the side of the woodwork. So we repeated that process for the other side, and now we're going to slide the shelf on there. And if you notice the set holes, the little holes that he took out, those screws are facing down. You're going to want to do that because the shade that you install into it will kind of hide that. And then there's a picture of a bracket, but you can find all this at palladianshelf.com. Everything's customizable to the nearest eighth of an inch. You can come with widths from 2.5 inches to 4. You can have them custom painted or stained yourself, or it comes in a bright white and an off-white.